Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Expert's Guide on how to succeed with live and shoppable video. Today, we are going to dive into insights and best practices to help you master video commerce in 2026 and on. My name is Julia Renchner-Kelly. I'm a Senior Customer Success Manager here at Bambuser, and I am so excited to be hosting today's CSM-led webinar. We are also going to be hosting a Q&A at the end, but please feel free to throw your comments into the chat as we go. My colleague Moss will be moderating, so we'll have others chiming in and helping you with any questions or concerns or just general comments, so feel free to do it. And he'll also be dropping the affiliated relevant links per slide within the chat, so keep an eye out, but be sure to stay with us and digest that content later. So let's jump right in. We're going to be starting with our shoppable video solution and starting with the big four, the video commerce landscape. These are the content trends that are dominating the digital space. All of these are, of course, important and provide various ways to engage and inspire your customers and your audience. Let's start with masterclasses. These are your evergreen educational pieces. Think longer form content, including ingredient explainers, expert interviews, and more. We've then got our live events. This is content with a shorter life cycle, like sales specials or perhaps seasonal trends. Then we've got our shorts. That's our quick, snappy content like testimonials, style hacks, get ready with me routines, things like that. And then, of course, our shoppable videos. These can be things like brand campaigns, user or expert-generated content that lead directly to purchase. And as a reminder, we would love to hear what brand you're joining from, where you're located. Please engage in the chat. It makes all of this a lot more fun and a lot more engaging. Great. Let's move along. Let's start with our first key recommendation, focusing on PDP content. Our first key recommendation is to showcase your most important content right where the decision happens, the product detail page, commonly referred to as the PDP. Examples of different types of content include UCG or EGC, that's our user or expert employee-generated content, as well as our masterclasses. Don't let your masterclasses collect dust. You can break them down into bite-sized shoppable snippets. Whether it's ingredient info, application walkthroughs, FAQs, or styling ideas, placing these clips on PDPs provides an educational experience that turns interest into immediate action. But of course, that is not an exhaustive list. There's so much more that you can do. Be creative. And we've got some best practices on the right-hand side with all of our slides that just highlight either how-tos, a bit of a preview of how to do this, or any of our current clients that are already doing this in a really awesome way. So we've got a client example on the right-hand side that has a great example of including these kind of bite-sized shoppable snippets right on their PDP. Moving right along, we've got our key recommendation 2. It's all about the human connection. That's really what it's kind of all about at the end of the day. It's building that human-to-human connection. We've seen incredible success by utilizing expert or employee-generated content, again, that EGC, and user-generated content, UGC. And you can position your very important customers or your VICs as advocates by utilizing their content to highlight trends and authentic reviews, driving community engagement. One stat to remember here, we had a beauty client that used short 1-minute authentic review clips and saw a 25% product click to total views ratio. That is about 13% over the industry average. So they're definitely doing something right. And again, all of this is used as sneak previews or little ideas, tips and tricks just to help you make your content that much more engaging. Going further into our key recommendation 3, content is only king if people can find it. Therefore, you must increase visibility on your site. So consider that about 35% of your total web traffic comes from your homepage. Therefore, it is imperative to place shoppable video playlists above the fold on the homepage. That means above where the customer has to scroll to get to the next portion of your screen to capture their attention immediately and drive users into your catalog faster. And you can do so by adding product cards or thumbnails right on the preview player, driving attention to your products and driving your shoppers towards purchase. And as I mentioned, my colleague Moss, who is moderating today's chat, will be dropping those affiliated links right into the comments. So feel free to, again, click into them, but save them for later because we definitely want everybody, remaining in the webinar today and engaging with us. I promise all of this is really good content. Cool. Let's move along. Speaking of general shoppability, we also need to reduce friction. Increase the shoppability of your videos to boost those add to cart rates, a KPI that we hear over and over again as being so key to our customers. We can do so by ensuring product cards appear on the preview player. You can tailor the behavior, whether it's through an overlay or a slide out drawer, to minimize the clicks needed to purchase, creating a smoother experience for product evaluation. All of this can actually be done right in settings, and Moss will share how to in the chat. But personally, I love these smaller tips and tricks that don't require any development work, don't require getting added to your roadmap to get done. You can just go right into your BAM Hub settings and do it and immediately create impact. And finally, for discovery, think beyond the homepage. You can add playlists to your product listing pages or PLPs to inspire exploration with multiple products featured, inspiring your customers to dive deeper into your product catalog and further into their customer journey. Also, drive traffic directly from social media like Instagram directly to your shoppable playlists, all without leaving the Instagram experience. They can easily add to cart and checkout all within Instagram, making the discovery to checkout process incredibly seamless. And lastly, create new touch points by leveraging your CRM. Using email, SMS, or WhatsApp, whatever is the best way that you respond and chat with your customers, to remind users of upcoming lives, highlight replays to drive traffic back to older shows, or promote any other content of note to your customer list. So get creative again. People love engaging with their favorite brands, and this is an awesome way to drive more traffic and attention back to your video hubs, your shows, anything that you'd like to promote. And lastly, let's look at a best practice from one of our customers at Dot Parfums with how to synergize with social commerce content across both your live and shoppable video content. So they added a shoppable video gallery on a dedicated page for their Star Live events. They included step-by-step glam breakdowns with associated product cards, effectively bridging the gap between that live excitement and static catalog browsing. So again, take these tips and tricks, take these best practices and apply it to your own brand and see what happens. It's a great way to easily bridge that gap and make all of this content easy to find and engaging for your customer base. Now that closes the loop on our shoppable video discussion. We are now going to go into our live solution and chat a little bit about best practices and key recommendations there. Hopefully everyone's having fun in the chat. I'm not looking so as not to distract myself. Cool. So let's recap a little bit on visibility. You need a multi-pronged approach. We'll be going through the below bullets in additional detail in the following slides. So no worries if you feel like I'm going a little too quickly or you feel like you haven't captured the content correctly. We're going to be going again into all of these bullets in more detail. First, increase visibility by putting those shows on PDPs and PLPs in your search results, in your homepage headers, ensuring your customers don't have to hunt for the content. They don't know to look for something if they don't know it exists. You can also use Bambuser features to help increase visibility, which we'll go into more detail on shortly. Also, maximize your SEO and GEO strategies to ensure you're findable everywhere your customer is. And lastly, multi-stream your content across your social platforms, making your reach that much farther. So let's go into that first bullet. As I mentioned, there are many different ways to reuse your master classes to increase visibility, including on PDPs, as I said, always above the fold, ensuring your customers see it in their face without needing to scroll, on PLPs, so that product landing page, in your search results, and within your site header. A best practice of this is Dr. Barbara Sturm, who has a link to their video hub and virtual consultation. Shout out to another one of our products, right in their site header, making discovery extremely easy for customers. As I said, your customers are not going to look for something that they don't know exists. So let's make everyone's life easier and put it right in their face. And speaking of visibility, make sure you're maximizing on that using Bambuser's specific features to help with this. So let's go into these a little more in detail. First, we've got our floating action button, commonly referred to as the FAB. Assign specific content to different categories across your site utilizing the FAB, putting the content in your customers' faces and drawing their eyes to drawing their attention. I always tell my customers to do this. There is no reason why you shouldn't truly. It draws their eyes. It's something they haven't necessarily seen before, and we see incredible traffic getting drawn to those shows when we use it. We also have in-player show promotion. This is one of our newest features. I also love it. I tell all of my customers to use it. You can promote your shows directly within the video player to boost discovery, creating almost an effect where you don't want to leave. I always attribute it to that YouTube experience when you're done watching a video and it suggests 8 more videos that you might like. This is that general same idea, ensuring that your customer doesn't need to leave the player to find other really incredible content, and you get to customize that to your liking. Further, we've got our channels. That is our out-of-the-box pre-built landing page for your library of video content. You can manage your show library directly through the BAM Hub without needing that back-end support or dev work. So you can keep your channels fresh, you can keep your content interesting, and as I said, all of that can be customized directly from our back-end dashboard, making it super, super easy for all of our end users to ensure that your channels are exactly what you want them to be. Then lastly, our AI subtitles. This is also another one of our newer features where you can instantly expand your global reach with auto-generated subtitles in over 40 languages, which really enhances that accessibility for all of your viewers. I'll pause again, just reiterating, please drop all of your questions in the chat. I've got my amazing colleagues in the chat ready to jump on it and help at any time. Also, we will be doing a Q&A more towards the end, but hopefully everyone's getting their questions answered as we go through it. Alrighty, let's move along to social selling. Do not forget social selling. Can't say this enough. When you multi-stream, you can actually enable your shoppers to purchase directly through Facebook and Instagram. Shoppers can type a shop code into the chat and get a direct link to the PDP. With full cart integration, they can even select color and size within their Instagram DMs. So they can do all of this within the Instagram experience, making it super, super easy, maybe dangerously easy, to shop their favorite brands. And of course, always use UTM tags to track this conversion. Key recommendation 2. Let's talk retention and how to best cultivate it through frequency, evergreen content, and the use of Bambuser's engagement features. A beauty customer built a community by increasing show frequency and using engagement features like gamification. We even highlighted this in a recent Go Beyond webinar if you want to review those results in more detail. Yes, we're of course shamelessly plugging our past webinars. And one highlight is that their engagement rate hovers around 40%, which is about 25% over the beauty industry benchmark. It's clearly a great way to make your shows more interactive, interesting, and fun for viewers. Now let's talk a little more about these specific features. These features, gamification and polls, really transform passive viewers into active participants. And this isn't just fun, it's actually a way to learn about your customers' preferences and feedback in real time, as well as collect first-party data such as names, phone numbers, and email. But also it is fun. And I can say that as both, of course, working here and as somebody who likes to watch my customer shows and engage. And check out the charts to the right. As you can see, retention greatly increases when we utilize these features. So that top chart shows when these features are not used, we can see that retention kind of drop off throughout the show. But when these features are used, we can see retention not only remaining really steady, but actually growing. So highly, highly recommend it. It's a really, really fun way to engage with your audience. And it's also a great way to learn what their interests are and what maybe we should focus on for the next show. I cannot stress this enough. Frequency creates habits. Data shows that when customers who go live for 8+ months see a 49% growth in watch time and a 32% growth in live conversion rates. These numbers do not lie. Try it yourself and see what happens. Your live content should also continue to work for you after the stream ends. 63% of views and 88% of sales come from replay content. So after, again, that initial live goes to replay. A pro tip here is to create instructional how-to videos that customers will bookmark and watch again and again, having your content and your investment work harder for longer. Moving on. We did a whole webinar on this recently, actually. Shout out to my amazing colleague, Lucy, who hosted that. But this is an imperative part of best practices overall, and we would be remiss not to include it today. A common concern we hear from our customers is bandwidth and production cost. But high production isn't always necessary for high quality. One stat here is that a fashion brand used simple single camera content and saw 66.2% engagement, beating the industry average by over 43%. You can use the BAM app to go live directly from your device for authentic, agile content, allowing you to go live whenever you want from wherever. And if your team is small, here's how you can overcome some of those bandwidth restraints. You can batch record seasonal themes in batches to maximize efficiency and time. You can reuse your content, share your content across your markets and let the HQ content support those smaller markets. Also, of course, we've got those new subtitles. So reuse your content and spread it across all of your markets and utilize those other features to, again, create those habits. We've got our split screen feature. Use this feature for interviews, diversifying content, and creating a little more interest at no extra cost. And prioritize traffic. Allocate budget to paid social traffic rather than expensive production. And here is proof that the BAM app works. Look at these engagement rates for simple streams, 57% engagement and 29% engagement on simple chat and shop style videos. Oh, and 63% engagement. How could I skip over that? Clearly, what these kind of show is that it's about authenticity, not just high production values. Again, the numbers don't lie. So very happy to report these. And finally, ensure you are set for success every time. A thorough checklist covering creative to technical details is essential so you can focus on connecting with your audience. And Moss is going to drop a link to that checklist, which leads to our BAM base, which is another one of our awesome resources that we've got for you to utilize. Highly recommend bookmarking this and always referring back to it whenever you are either a new client or prepping for your next live. Now, hopefully I didn't speak too quickly, as sometimes I can do, but that is the content we had for you today, and we'd love to now go into a Q&A. Appreciate everybody's time. But now, as I said, we are going to do a Q&A. So let me just check in on what we've got. Yes, another tab to save, Lucy. Very true. Hopefully everybody has been saving these and again, can refer back to them at a separate time. We're giving you guys a little bit of time back to maybe spend the next 25 minutes just doing a little bit of reading. So I'll go into our chat. What we've got, how should we determine how frequently to go live? So This really depends on your brand and how you'd like to engage with your customers. You know your customers better than we do. Whether you go live once a week or once a quarter, consistency is the name of the game. So, kind of going back to that frequency, of course, doing something that your customers can come to expect is going to create habits. So, whether it is once a week or once a quarter, as long as you're remaining consistent, that is going to create those habits. Let's see if we've got any other questions. Just scrolling up in the chat. It's nice to see everybody joining. Hi. Yes, awesome, Henry. I love that insight. Clients going live 4 to 5 times a week at established times. So that's exactly right. Not only is going live within a certain cadence, again, whether that's monthly, quarterly, weekly, important, but also going live at specific times of the day is also super key. We've got plenty of clients who have that type of cadence and are tuning in, exactly at 8 a.m., 12 p.m., 3 p.m. And that type of experience is also going to create habits and have your customers, know in the back of their head that they can tune in and see their favorite brand going live. And yes, agreed. It totally helps when you forget to reach out to them through CRM because they've got it in the back of their head like, isn't that brand going live at noon? Let's see, we've got another question. Can in-player show promotion drive people out of my show? So that's a really, really good question. But the goal with this feature is to keep them on your site and engage with your brand overall. So, yes, naturally, using in player show promotion will drive them away from that specific show, but it will drive them towards another one of your shows. And it is up to you for which that you want to promote. So you get to really curate it to your liking and your preferences, as long as we're keeping, again, that viewer retention high, that time on site high. You'll naturally see all of those KPIs and metrics drive up. So I'm going to give it a little beat just to see if we get any other questions and comments. Hopefully this has been interesting and engaging and a little bit inspiring just before the end of the year, ending our year with some good tips and tricks and best practices so we can go into 2026 with a refreshed strategy. Let's see, just checking the chat again. Who should we speak about enabling some of these strategies and features? Really good question. Us, your CSM team. So whoever your dedicated customer success manager is, please don't hesitate to reach out to them, and they'd be happy, I can speak from experience, to take a meeting to discuss these features in more detail, to discuss the overall strategy in more detail, and understand how these fit into your forward-looking strategy. So again, please reach out to us. We have a CSM general email, but hopefully you also have your specific CSM's email as well. Feel free to reach out to any of us, and all of us would be really, really happy to talk through those strategies and suggestions and features with you. All right, and we've got another question from Cam in the chat. Do you have any artists using your platform going live during their work or showing process? Would you recommend? Bear in mind, most of the time our products are sold out. We sell limited editions on dedicated days. That's a very, very cool use case. I love that. I can't necessarily speak to whether or not we've have that. Hopefully some of my other CSMs can potentially jump into the chat to support. But I would say overall, I would always recommend doing it. The worst that happens is you're increasing visibility and you're increasing awareness of what you're doing. So whether or not you've got products that are sold out, you are still drawing attention and drawing the eye, and again, creating this type of habit and interest in your brand. So I would say you really can't go wrong with doing it, because the worst that happens is you're going to build up a dedicated audience. And thanks for your question. All right, we've got another one from Alejandro. My audience are really new into live streaming commerce. We hear that a lot. Though we've noticed that the niche topics have better interest. How can we jump that barrier to get a wider audience? More and short live shoppings or few but longer sessions? Really, really good questions. I think this is something we're generally hearing, especially, I can only speak as an American. This is a newer idea kind of in the last 5 to 10 years. And we definitely saw this really skyrocket, of course, during COVID when none of us had anything better to do. So I think that in general, though longer form content is, of course, more of bandwidth to create, we do see really great retention and really great engagement when content is kind of over that 20-minute mark. I would divide kind of short form versus long form at that 20-minute mark. And we see a lot of dedication. You're going to see your customers who really love the brand, really engage with the brand, shouting you out in the chats and so on. And again, continuing to show up over and over again. So the best way to really, jump that barrier to get wider audiences, not only creating really interesting kind of long form content that will keep them engaged, but then continuing to do it. So it's all about doing it and then repeating those patterns. Apologies if I'm repeating myself, but I really can't say it enough. And thank you for my colleagues who are jumping into the chat as well and just supporting. And thank you, Adam, for dropping in that CSM email. So if, again, you're unsure who your CSM is, please email success@bambuser.com and somebody will get back to you. Okay. Well, I will give it about a minute or so more to just get any of those last questions in, but please don't feel like if you haven't asked a question, you've missed your chance. Again, please reach out to us. We are all a really nice team, I have to say. So please reach out. Somebody would love to chat. And overall, just thank you so much for your attention and your engagement. It really, really means a lot, and we love doing this. So if we don't speak, have an amazing holiday. Happy New Year from Bambuser to you guys, and everyone be well.
Bambuser.